Hello and welcome back to the Student StarCraft AI tournament. I'm Shonko and I will be your caster today. Today we will see the losers round 3 and the regular round 3 matches. With that being said, let's get right into it. And the first matchup we see here is Steamhammer versus Zenz bot. It is a Zerg versus Protoss match on Tau Cross that we are seeing here. So Steamhammer, granddaddy Steamhammer I should say, many bots have forked or built on Steamhammer's quite extensive system of, well, I don't know how to finish that sentence, but yeah, Steamhammer is forked and modified a lot of times. And meanwhile, Zenz is just a good bot by Chris Cox, if I'm not very much mistaken, and it's a forge and a gateway, I think, walling off the entrance, very nicely done. And in the meantime, a fast nexus from Steamhammer here. Scouting probe gets into the base. It does not spot, well, it does spot the expansion, but other than that, there is not much to stop. And a guess in the natural, and we have double guess after a nexus. This is a little bit interesting, but I haven't really seen this. I don't know how intentional is that. I mean, when you see a bot doing something unusual, there is at least a 10% chance that something went wrong and it's not intentional. Intentional in a sense that the bot author didn't mean to do this. So, yes, that's a quick spire. There was a lair morphed, of course, because that's a prerequisite. And I think this will be a quick muta play, and that's why we have the double guess. And Steamhammer is banking guess, as we can see. Meanwhile, Zenz is happily turtling away, bringing up gateways and Citadel of Adun, and 4 zealots available, but they are just for defense. And I don't know, I don't see a cybernetics core in production either. That means that Zenz might have a hard time with anti-air capabilities, and the first batch of Mutalisks are already out, 3 Mutalisks and 3 more, I don't know how much more, 4 more, 4 and 4 more on the way, cannoning up the mineral line. That's nicely done. The Mutalisks trying to get an edge here, but they don't really go around and probe for weak spots. Just fly in the mineral line whenever they can, and decimate workers a little bit, but it seemed to me that they were not really target firing, or maybe not as well as they could, and the zealots are out in the meantime. Yeah, these Mutalisks get a lot of damage, but they can destroy this, I think, pylon undisturbed. Yeah, this should be a pylon. Well, it's some damage, and in the meantime, I don't think Steamhammer has an answer for that zealot group just yet. And let's see what happens. The Mutalisks come back to defense, so actually this is a big old brawl, and the Zealot DPS is a little bit better than Mutalisk DPS, not so surprisingly, and basically the Zealot count is, well, fine, thanks for asking. Oh, but the Zealots turned back, and that might just save Steamhammer. I don't know if they turned back because they thought they can't break this base. I would think they most certainly can, or maybe just saw some other threat, but they at least killed this expansion. And Steamhammer is on the back foot now, transferring the back the probes. That's nicely done, but not really making anything that could stand up to the pressure of these zealots. And in the meantime, dragons are being made, and 9 Mutalisks are decent size, and they can eventually blast down a lot of zealots, but against some dragons it won't be as a pretty picture. So 2 goons are out, maybe the third is on the way. Can they actually get out here? Yes, they can. A nice wall here. That wall was built with goon escaping in mind. I think this might be using of the BWEM placement library, which is one tool to, well, basically do this that you see right here. But this match is going a little bit back and forth. I think the Zealots turning back were not a great decision. But anyway, it's far from over, and Zenz is still kind of up here. And I just realized that Zenz might not be by Chris Cox. There is a ZZK bot, so sorry for my mistake. Anyway, let's get back to the game. Messing a lot of goons, and yep, that's basically what's happening here, versus Hydralisks, Mutalisks, and some Links. But those just slowly conga lining back to the base, and the stragglers just get picked by the goon army. And this Mutalisk micro could be a little bit better. I think that the Mutalisks maybe decide to retreat before they attack somehow. And yeah, I mean, there is a condition that terminates the attack and just flips a switch that, okay, now we are retreating, and maybe it's timed not the best. Nice goon micro by Zenz. And yeah, this is over. I'm gonna speed this up. Let's see it play out, but I don't think this can go any other way. It will be Zenz's victory. So that's one up by Zenz, and let's see the next game of the best of 5. So this is the second game of Steamhammer versus Zenz bot, as you can see in this very nice chart, and I hope I don't forget to hide this before the recording, because that would be a little bit less enjoyable. This time in Python. And this base has a lot of open space, which usually a little bit better for Zerg for large-scale engagements, but we don't see that many large-scale engagement in bot versus bot matches lately, I think, and that's a shame. And that's a completely subjective opinion anyway. So drone scout going on in the Protoss base, some Links trying to get in, but the walling off is just in time yet again. So there is no wall off to speak of, no break-in to speak of, I should say. There is most certainly a wall here, and cannons out. Gateway is blocking up the lower entrance to this natural base, and the worker count is a little bit higher for Zenz. Steamhammer early expanding to the natural feels quite safe. I wonder if we will see a double gas early from Steamhammer here as well. I don't know what is happening. Steamhammer seemingly not really producing anything. This could be a bug, and this could be a problem in the replay. I think it's maybe a problem in the replay. Okay. Let me play this a little bit up. No, it's just Steamhammer was a little bit playing dead, so to speak. Sorry, I'm a little bit paranoid about replays, because yeah, that happens a little bit more than we would like it to happen, which is 0, I guess. So it's a little bit of standoff, turtling up, and eventually Zenz just moves out with the goons, and there is no defending force to speak of. There is only 4 Links, and that's a creep colony for sure, but one creep colony, especially if it's not even a sunken colony, will not stop you. Now it's slowly becoming a sunken colony, but still against 7, 8, 9 dragoons now, that won't be enough, and this expansion is shut down. A few Links and Hydralisks stream out, again, too little, too late, and that's nice engagement, but this goon wasn't that damaged. Maybe emotionally a little, but that's not enough to win. And Zenz just keeping up the pressure, just moving in. I think at this point, with this many goons, you can just move into the natural and almost blast it down. Oh, well, there is a considerable amount of blue soup, so maybe I spoke too soon. Sunken seem to hold the line. Well, but reinforcements come, and the goon count is actually 11 now. Not all of them are here. but there are enough goons here, and of course you can't just make the very nice run by, but you can't just make sunkens fast enough, and I think they are going for the spawning pool now. Nice move, shutting down the link stream. Actually no, they are kind of going for a spawning pool. They are also going for the workers, which is also nice, because without money you literally can't make anything. So yep, workers shut down. Only a few, 3 workers alive, 2 of them are mining minerals, but this game is basically over. I don't see Steamhammer coming back from this. Interesting goon movement. I don't know why they didn't just finish this base off, but anyway, at this point it doesn't really matter. So this is a clean victory for ZNZZ, and that makes it 2-0 for ZNZZ. Let's jump into the next game. So this is the third game of Steamhammer versus ZNZZ, and it is the last chance of Steamhammer to come back and even out the score, and the map now is Andromeda. This is an interesting map with a mineral-only expansion on the high ground and some island bases, which island bases almost never get taken by bots, sadly enough, and I think that is something that would be interesting to see. So no scouting drone, I mean. No, there is a scouting probe now. There were just weren't one when I first studied, and there is a scouting overlord, and it finds the expansion here, and this is a, well, it's not a perfect wall, but it is a wall, and maybe it's just not done yet. Quick cannon up. Do we have a gateway? Yes, we have a gateway in progress. It would be surprising if we didn't. And maybe a little bit too many cannons. Well, I mean, you never can have too many cannons, but a little bit considerable investment at this point of the game. Again, Steamhammer with the natural expansion. I think that was the first thing that Steamhammer did yet again. And the zealot count is, well, I'm not saying rising, but no, definitely not, but goons are being made. There is a gateway in the back, and surely that's another, or maybe that's something else. Where is the production? No, that's one more gateway, so this is just a 3 gateway play now, maybe a 4 gateway. Yeah, it's a 4 gateway Protoss, and we have, let me slow this down, we have a cloud of Mutalisks, and yet again we see this back and forth, and the Mutalisk break off before actually attacking, and oh, it's so bad to see, because so many shots not taken, and a wise man once said that you miss all the shots you don't take, or something to that effect, or you miss 100% of shots you don't take. And yeah, that's most certainly not the actual quote. I saw it in the office, so forgive me for that. So at some point Michael Scott definitely said it. So that being said, yep, that is over. The goons just walk into the base without any serious opposition, and yep, pretty much it. And that means that Steamhammer is out, and ZNZZ wins this bout of the losers round. So Steamhammer, we are sad to see you go, but this is what it is, and there is no more mercy. In the meantime, a sneaky expansion here. Let me speed this up, because eventually the sneaky expansion will get found, and yeah, that's the end of it. One Hydra holding the line, but not anymore. Yeah, yet again, GG ZNZZ bot, and let's have the next matchup. So the next matchup is Ironbot versus a Banana Brain, still in the losers round, and yeah, let's see. Without further ado, let's get into the game. Ironbot, again, a long-standing, respected old veteran of the SSCAIT, and it is always nice to see the great mech plays that Iron Bot can pull off, and Banana Brain is just an awesome Protoss bot with a very frequently updated and very nicely done. Banana Brain was one of the bots that I had a coding stream with, or I should say with the author, but it is nicely built and quite easily extensible. So if nothing else from a coding perspective, it's just a sight to behold. So with that being said, let's see if this will be a bioplay. No, that's a factory. For some reason I thought that was an academy. That's how silly of me. In the meantime, quick 2-gate and cybernetics core. Well, I always find it weird to say that it is a quick something, because yeah, you're basically doing it as soon as you can humanly or botly possible. So I think maybe a quick build is a little bit redundant in that case. Nice scouting by Banana Brain. Iron not even bothering to just kill this drone, and the first goons are already streaming in, and there is literally no army to defend. That's gonna be a problem, I think. You kind of have to have an army in this game. I mean, I'm not a pro or anything, but that much I know. And the first tank is out, but there are 3 goons, not just one. One tank is not enough to scare away 3 goons. Vulture as well. Okay. Hello, Mr. Vulture. Maybe siege mode done. And the repair might keep this one puny tank alive, and 1 tank versus 3 goons. Well, if the goons close in, I think that's it. And the goons do close in, but this hero tank is still alive, but not for long. Oh no, it actually survives. I'm actually amazed. It was literally 1 shot away, and I think that goon could have took that shot, and it was maybe too early withdrawal from Banana Brain's part, but then again it might have been not. And Iron is on the move finally. Again, this was a quite strong early pressure, and now mining up the map, which I always like to see. My sweeping is, even if you're a bot and can have infinite micro, sometimes you still screw it up. So mines and vultures by extension are one of the most cost-effective units in this game, I think. And there is a worker transfer, nicely done, just as the refinery is getting brought up, and it's a 2v2, 2 base versus 2 base match, so the players are pretty even, worker count seems even. Banana Brain is a little bit up in supply, but that doesn't necessarily mean that much. And we have a little more factories, 3 factories, and an armory is going on, and gateway count is not that high actually for Banana Brain, so the supply gap is becoming smaller and smaller. It's closing a bit. And nice floating engineering bay from Iron. And how many tanks we have? It's 6 tanks, which is decent at this stage of the game, versus 14, 15 now, 15 goons. This back and forth undecisive behavior is quite characteristic of bot matches, I should say. But now the siege begins, and Banana Brain is not moving out. I feel you could break the siege, although there is a bridge in the way, so I don't know. And the siege breaking is going on, and yes, the 4 tanks are blasted down, but there are 2 more in the backline, and they scare the goons away. But nice move out, nice analyzing the situation, and Banana Brain is just recognizing that yes, this is the point when you should attack, moving inside the minimum range of these tanks. And there is always 1 more tank in the back, but the splash damage hurts the allies, and that is well, not a favorable trade, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. And I think it is favorable in a sense that it breaks down the contain and eliminates the tanks that are knocking on your door. And there is a river out that will even the odds a little bit, I think. although tanks still outrange reavers, I believe. Nice minesweeping action. Well, as I said before, minesweeping is still not 100% effective even if you're a bot. And the tank is attacking the reaver, and the reaver is firing back. How hot is this reaver? Well, not at all. It is basically a slight breeze away from dying. And Iron is just streaming in the mech units, trying to keep the content going, but Banana Brain adapting to the situation at hand and nicely breaking it up, minesweeping a little, well, sometimes with face sweeping with the zealots, but still minesweeping is minesweeping. And now, yet again, Banana Brain is on the warpath. Nice situational awareness from Iron, recognizing that yes, you have to defend at the choke points, and there is a lot of blue soup. But in the meantime, let me slow this down because a lot of things are going on. In the meantime, there is two expansions from Iron, a nice reverse shot, but there are 4 bases and the 5th coming up for Banana Brain. So Banana Brain is macroing his heart out at this point, nicely closing in to, on the tank with the zealots, and I think it's at this point, yeah, Banana Brain just out macroed its opponent, and yeah, tanks are just streaming in, and don't get me wrong, Iron still has a very strong economy, and this match might not be over yet, but then again, it's 5 bases versus 3, so yeah, I would say this is getting more and more hopeless for Iron. Well, that storm was a little bit miss. I don't know what was the intended target, but yeah, it didn't really catch anything. Tanks are doing the work, but zealots are closing in again and again. And there is a little bit screening by the vultures, but sometimes not enough. And the zealots are just walking in and stabbing everything inside. Oh my god, these zealots are so durable, and they are doing the work. They are doing the work. Vultures a little bit. Oh, those wraiths are getting stormed, but not very successfully. I don't think they. Oh, one of the wraiths has a little bit damage, so that didn't do much, and in the meantime they just snipe the High Templars. So Wraith is a quite fast unit, so storms are less effective versus them, and in the meantime this zealot block is nicely kited by Iron, and all the zealots move out and try to catch that one, maybe the SCV, maybe the vulture, I don't know, one of those, but vultures are quite faster than, well, anything, but especially zealots, and we see this game time and again the vultures just kite the zealots all the way across the map, and eventually they will kill them all. Well, or maybe they kill themselves with spider mines, but that happens. But another squad of zealots, and oh, very nicely done, an Archon on the front line with a little bit low shield, and this game is all over the place. It is hard to cast because so many things going on. There is this column of Goliaths and tanks going down to this bottom middle base, maybe to relieve the oppressing zealot force, well, not relieve, but completely kill and destroy. And this lone tank is, yeah, it's sieged up in the wrong place, and it's sieged down at the wrong time. That is all she wrote. Zealot that column yet again closing in on the tanks, and they kind of, well, they don't hurt each other with splash damage, they unsiege and wisely recognize that that might be a better option here, but still the zealots are just going on, and they cannot be destroyed. They are so durable, and there are so many of them. But that being said, there is not much ground gained here. This base is pretty much still up. This base is happily mining away, even though there is almost always zealots in this base. But then again, it will eventually run out, and Banana Brain just has more bases and more income. Both players keeping their money relatively low. There is absolute lot of gateways here, so resupply is not a problem. But yeah, this base is not mining. This base is still mining, but the worker count, oh my god, there is only 10 workers for iron. Where did the workers go? And I must have missed a failed worker transfer, I think. Okay, scratch that. The iron has no economy at this point, and it's a matter of time. Yeah, I don't know what happened to the workers. Let's speed this up yet again. I think this will end in a Banana Brain's victory, but technically the bots can always time out, so when casting tournaments we have to see it until the end. And let's just speed it up. Eventually the Protoss Dead Ball advances and just mops up the base here. Max supply versus 8 supply. Yeah, I think we can see a GG and an awesome game from Iron and Banana Brain. And I really hope Iron can even out the score in the next one. And this is the second game of Iron Bot versus Banana Brain of the losers round 3 right here. Currently the score is 1-0 to Banana Brain. Let's see if Iron can even that out. I would really like to see that. So Iron usually playing mech turn. I think when I say usually, that means always. I never can recall, or I can't recall ever seeing a bio play from Iron. So yes, that's probably not something that Iron can do, but yet again, don't quote me on that. Not quoting me on things is generally a wise approach anyway. So that is a quick factory, and yet again as quick as you can do it. So yeah, a factory, and we will see the first tanks coming out very soon. Banana Brain is pretty much doing the same thing as we saw in the previous match, getting up 2 gateways and a cybernetic score and sending out all the goons that he can. And well, he's not wrong. There is absolutely no defense, and even though in last game we saw that the goons were repelled, they were just barely repelled at this point, and there is one tank, there is no repair up yet, but there is a ramp and the positioning is a little bit better now. But oh my god, we have 5 goons. Where is the second tank? There is the second tank, and there is the siege mode, more importantly, and now this ramp can be secured, and I think Banana Brain just realizes that and retreats. A nice floating of the expansion here. I always like to see that because you spare a little bit of time here, but the worker transfer could be done in a different time maybe. I think Iron is not really mindful of its workers, and that can cost you a lot. Workers are something, well, you have to really keep take good care of. So Banana Brain retreating, not containing, not attempting to contain this base, I should say, because it's quite hard to contain a block of siege tanks, one should say. Not expanding here, and now Iron is the one who is poking his head in. And no more expansions. It's 2v2, 2 versus 2 base versus 2 base. Now I can finally say it. So, and mining up the base, although mines even at the worst case can slow down your opponent's advancement, and well, in the best case they can take out high value units such as goons or even reavers. So how many tanks we have? 5 versus 9 goons. I would say that Iron is in a little bit better position here, especially because Iron is up in workers. The worker difference is just 8, and that's not too much, but even one can count. So Banana Brain is just turtling for I think no observatory I can see, so maybe that's why Banana Brain is not moving out, and I don't see any being oh, there is observatory, sorry, I just missed it for a second. And the contain is beginning and the goons are moving out, but this tank block, oh no, they can break it, they can break it. Well, this part of it anyway, but there are 3 more in the back, and that was a very costly endeavor from Banana Brain. I don't know, at least 5 goons died here. That's 1 goon, 2 goon, And ooh, that was a very good hit. That's 4 more with 1 tank barrage, I should say, because maybe 2 tanks shot there, but oh, those were damaged goons. And now ranging down the natural, and I don't think Banana Brain has a good answer for this. You need some zealots, I think, at this point. Oh, and the vultures are ravaging the worker line. Somehow Iron timed this attack a little bit better, and I think this might be the beginning of the end. Banana Brain just scrambling to get something done, but the tanks are too well defended. Nice screening by vultures, and there is the ramp, which even though you have the high ground, it acts a little bit against you in this point, because you can just only conga line down, and that is a very bad thing to do against these nice siege tanks. And there is even a lot of repair going on, so Iron really getting his stuff together here. Banana Brain dropping a ball a little bit, although nice early pressure, and I would say a valiant retreat, but eventually Iron is at the gates, and the zealots don't even dare to engage. There is no anti-air here. There is no goons. There are no goons. There are no goons, no one to shut this Wraith down, and Wraiths are quite good anti-air units, so there is one cannon, but it does not kill the Wraith. However, the tanks do kill the cannon in a short while, I think. Yes, that wasn't hard to predict, and let me just speed this up, because yeah, at this point it's basically decided. Nicely evening the score by Ironbot, and finally we see a matchup that is not so one-sided. I don't like when the matchup is just 3-0. I like to get the suspense going, and I really can't say which bot is stronger at this point. I would say they are pretty evenly matched. Let's see how it fares in the next one. So, third match of Banana Brain versus Ironbot of the losers round 3. And let's get into it. The score is a 1-1 by so far, and I think this is an interesting map to see it even, well, not evening out, that's impossible, that's literally impossible, but this is an interesting map for the next matchup, and that is a proxy 2 gate by Banana Brain, kind of a risky build, but knowing Iron's approach so far, which is not making arm units for a surprisingly long time, this might just pay off here. So, that being said, then it can be anything so far, and this is a Zealot Knight Vault. I think 2 Zealots coming out, and I think the tightness of that wall will be put to the test very soon. And and that one probe even helps, well, tries to do anything, and there are no marines out, and even if one marine pops out, they will be yeah, right here in the danger zone, but the marine kites the zealots away, but then again, yeah, his friend is not so lucky. Well, I don't consider the first one lucky either, but yeah, you know what I mean. And the marines pop out. That marine didn't even get a chance to fire. Well, I wouldn't be a marine in this matchup. And at 4 zealots, that's quite a lot, even if you can fire behind the wall. And this proxy 2 gate might just be the trick that Banana Brain needed. This barracks is dead. There is 1 tank out, but 1 tank versus 5 zealots, yeah, I wouldn't bet on the tank on this matchup. A little bit of kiting attempt, but as you can see, the tank is a big unit and cannot fit everywhere. And that is just a simple but effective choice of strategy from Banana Brain. And I really like to see this kind of adaptation from bots. And yeah, Banana Brain just takes this swiftly and mercilessly. Again, speeding this up, and the score will be 2-1 to Banana Brain. And now, if the next match is won by Banana Brain, that will be it. And still not over. Maybe one more supply depot. Yes, it's over. Let's jump into the 4th game. So, fourth game of Iron Bot versus a Banana Brain, and Banana Brain won 2 of the games so far. So, if Iron loses this, that will be it. But at least we have a fourth game now, and that is what I like to see: a pitched battle, and some games that you can't tell the winner just by the first 2 minutes. And this is a pretty even matchup. I think Banana Brain is maybe a little bit more adaptive. Iron is pretty much doing the same thing, but doing it very well. I must commend Iron. Banana Brain is a little bit more versatile, but still makes a lot of micro mistakes, I should say, like retreating when it gains nothing from it. And yeah, maybe that's a good analysis at this point. To be honest, I think Banana Brain had a little bit better micro in the past at some times, but that is an entirely subjective matter, and I don't want to trash talk any of these bots because they are great works of coding and effort. I'm just doing some analysis. So thanks for everyone who participates, regardless of the quality of your bot or the results of thereof. But let's get back to the game. That Dark Templar play didn't really pan out as the detection was here, and more importantly a siege tank was here. So, and there is a vulture in your base. You should kill that as soon as possible. 4 goons and 3 zealots. I think Banana Brain is a little bit behind. That DT play was really not effective, and there is a mines on the map. So Banana Brain is kind of contained here. I don't know if that you could call that a contain, but maybe Banana Brain is aware that there are mines, and also aware that, hey, I can't kill the mines. No, well, maybe not. But the vultures do a little bit of contain, but they can't really contain dragoons. Goons, I think, outrage vultures, but even if the range is the same, they can't trade without getting energy ball back. So yeah, vultures can't really contain goons. So the dead ball of the Protoss player is growing. 2 base versus 2 base yet again. Neither player is too fond of expanding too early, or expanding at all at this stage. And how many tanks we have? 4 tanks. Still, the mech push is just pretty much the same as we saw in the last 3 games. Now nicely done with the detection. I think this blankets the base in detection almost entirely. Maybe not this corner, but this I should say this base is pretty much DT proof at this point. Granted, there should be someone who actually kills the DTs, but if there is, the detection is just there. And sieging up without cover, yeah, that is not something you should do, and Banana Brain capitalizes on the weakness immediately and nicely blasting down, and in a moment's notice this match is just turned around. It's far from over, but losing 4 tanks just like that, and Banana Brain just moving in mercilessly, that was awesome. And without even a slightest hint of hesitation, Banana Brain just capitalized on that one move. And yes, these small things can decide a match. Again, this match is not decided yet. And these goons are, I don't know what they are targeting actually. There is a shuttle mulling about, I don't know what's that about. And the contain is beaten back. What are these SCVs doing? I thought they were transferring to this base, but they just getting killed for no reason. Maybe they were screening for the tanks. I don't think they did that, or not intentionally. And there are only 2 tanks, 3, but the third is somewhere in the back. I only see 2. No, 3 are here. Oh, that's a bad place to siege up. Well, the place is not bad, but the circumstances are less than perfect to siege up, and a lot of zealots die to mines, and mines are yet again one of the most cost-effective things you can build in this game. Again and again we see tanks sieging up without any kind of screening units, and mostly Iron is getting punished for that. Not every time, but Banana Brain realizes that, hey, I can just run in and kill that siege tank that is a high value target, and even if you lose a zealot, you still ahead in trades. But these reavers clean up a lot of stuff, including vultures. But then come the raids and clean up the reavers. And yet again, a reaver is a unit that you absolutely should not send into battle without cover or screening, because it's one of the most vulnerable litter caterpillars ever. And there is a science vessel out. I wonder what's the function or intended function of that vessel. Maybe EMP or D-Matrix, both of them are good. D-Matrix especially against running in Zealot. And now we see a little bit of wall of vultures, but they just spread out when the zealots came. But the zealots focus the vultures. Yeah, you shouldn't do that. Maybe you should run into the tank, because that's your high value target. Nicely done, but again, too little, too late. And that reaver will just get blasted down. I don't think the reavers have good target prioritization. They just target down the spider mines. Defensive matrix on Wraith, I don't know what's that about, and the Wraith is just killing this High Templar here. Well, that's an interesting pickle, I should say. And Banana Brain has 4 bases now versus the 3 of Iron, but I can't help but think that Iron is trading more favorable this time. It seems to me that if Iron can get the army composition up, it can use it quite well. But if it doesn't have the army composition, it tries to do the same thing, but without covering units and without, so to speak, a combined arms approach that is marginally less effective. But still, the slow push is going on, but it is a slow push. I don't think they gained much ground. I'm afraid that this will boil down who has more resources at this point, because all in all, I think the players are trading pretty equally. Absolutely no one is bothered by these rates, no one cares about them. They just have free reign of killing everything. And even though their damage is not that high, free damage is free. So yeah. And yet again, the Protoss army is cleared out, but there is not much ground gained. There is just a few tiles of ground here that was actually came under the control of the Terran player, and I think Iron is... Oh, there is a carrier. That's funny. How many carriers? We have literally the one carrier with 2 interceptors. Yeah, that's not gonna do anything meaningful here. Although the Wraiths are good targets, but the Goliaths can hold their own against them. But there is literally one Goliath. Well, no, there are 6. Okay. They are just not in the front, but they will be very soon, and 6 Goliaths can easily kill one puny carrier. Or 3 cloaked Wraiths, but these Wraiths, I don't know what they are doing. They don't really engage, but they should, as they are cloaked. Oh, maybe they see the observer. I don't know. Well, anyway, let's go back to the front line. The carrier is I think just banking interceptors. Still only 1 carrier, and the slow push is finally a little bit more out on the map. And the zealots, oh no, the zealots don't focus the tanks. They try to, and they even just get stuck. They try to chase the Goliaths. Yeah, that's not really a thing you should do. These carriers don't do too much. You kind of have to have a critical mass of carriers, I think. 1 or 2 carriers is just, sending them out is just a waste of resources. It's so easy to snipe them down when they are not too many, when there are not too many of them. But yet again, the Terran army is pushed back, and this is just a big old tug of war. And yep, the Archon is trading some shots. There is That is pretty much the same thing going on. Zealots running in. Sometimes they target tanks and then the line gets pushed back, but more often than not they just target the first unit that they can. Something died here. I think that was a critter. Poor critter got caught in the storm. And Protoss is a little bit ahead, and just looking at the supply, you would think that Banana Brain is ahead, but I think that most of that supply is just, I mean, temporary or something. And what is happening in the background? Main is mined out, natural almost mined out. This back base is almost mined out. This is the one really mining base, but I think, oh no, there is one other base from iron. And like I said before, this might just boil down to a war of attrition, and now iron is a little bit up on that. Well, there is technically, these bases are still mining, but they will be out very soon. And yeah, this base is getting taken. So this is still pretty evenly matched. Again, Banana Brain has a supply lead, but I think he fails to really capitalize on that. We have still only the one carrier. Both players keeping their money down very well. Banana Brain is maybe waiting for gas, I don't know, but not really going below 400 for now. And they just throw at each other everything they have all the time, and this is just a streaming of units. I'm trying to look if all the factories are in use. No, maybe Banana Brain is utilizing the production capabilities a little bit better, in a sense that all the gateways are working, or more of the gateways, but yeah, you can't really say anything to can't really make any conclusions just from that. And that's worker transfer is oh, that's very bad if you get the vultures in that juicy worker line, but the vultures get chased down, and yeah, this base is relatively safe for the time being. And the inertia of Iron's push is a little bit faltering, I would say, but it is not over, and the supply count is now equals. I think Iron is just more spread out now, and now the cloaked rate is just can attack this carrier pretty much unpunished, and they do just that. Oh no, why don't you do that? You should do that, and only that. You shouldn't target the interceptors. You have a free carrier kill here, use it. And yet again, tanks spread out, Protoss units close in, and more of the same is going on, and slowly but surely the Terran front line is pushed down ever so slightly, but no, then the tanks get killed and it starts all over again. Oh my god, this is crazy. How many units have been killed? I would love to see the statistic, but alas, I can't. And yeah, iron is running out of resources here, but another base is brought up. This is still a quite healthy base, this one as well, but pretty much exposed. And Banana Brain also has a new base, so yet again, more of the same. But the front line is pushed downwards. There is, this base is out, the natural is out. There is 2 mining bases for Banana Brain, and 3 let's call it a mining base then. It's 3 mining bases for Iron. So Iron is up a little bit in economy, but down in supply, and neither players are changing tactics very much. It's the same units with the same approach. So all in all, they trade fairly evenly on army scale, not on the units, not on a per unit basis. So that means whoever has the more resources will win in the end. And we'll see an engagement. Oh, nice mine hit. No, Zealots don't run in, and yeah, they try, but they get blasted down. They didn't really focus down the tanks. And now finally maybe we can see Banana Brain's base getting threatened. The tank count is decent, it's 5, but at this stage of the game it's absolutely low, and both players have a huge bank of gas. Maybe Banana Brain is a little bit better position and he can just make Templars with it. There is not a unit in the Terran arsenal that is very good for gas sink. I mean, not a unit that Iron actually uses. That's what I mean. And now the tanks are at the natural, and I don't know if Banana Brain has an answer. Oh no, don't turn back, that is the worst thing you can do. And maybe this is the end. Maybe this is finally the straw that broke the camel's back. And no, it is over. It is over, I think, as the tanks stream in. And yet again, the army count is not that high. Well, 158 supply. Yeah, let's go that up. Sorry, let's call that high army supply. And Iron is finally breaking, and that will bring the score to 2-2, and which means that the 5th game will decide who is the winner here. That is awesome, and I like to see that. I love to see that. And let me speed this up. We have reached the foregone conclusion stage of this game. Iron will just kill this. And very nicely done. And I like the long macro games as much as the next guy, but this is a little bit silly. And will this base get found out eventually? Yes, that is over, and there is one worker in the map somewhere for Banana Brain. Oh yeah, there it was. Okay, let's have the last game. And this is the last game on Icarus versus Banana Brain versus Ironbot. It's let me bring up the bracket a little bit. Yeah, so Banana Brain versus Ironbot, and this is the tiebreaker, the final game, the last chance for either player to win this matchup, and I can't think of any more superlatives. So yeah, pretty much the same opening from Iron that we always saw, and I'm really curious if Banana Brain will proxy to get this, because I don't think, no, he won't, but I don't think Iron has an answer for that. It is my impression that Iron don't have as much adaptability as Banana Brain does, and in the long run, I would say if this was like a 99 matches or something, Banana Brain would come up victorious, but in these engagements there are not enough learning to do just that, but although I don't really know. I mean, let's just enjoy the game. 3 zealots trying to chase down this one scouting SCV, and they will not do so, but there will be a Dragoon out very soon, which can just blast it down, but the scouting is done. Expanding to the natural, no oh, there is an expansion attempt. This command center will surely be floated down to this place. And yes, this is just what happens. Nice walling off, and Ironbot is quite secure at the moment. Banana Brain is just not moving out. This might get into the macro stage very soon. So no actual engagement is going on. Both players are turtling. Well, I don't know how turtly is it, but just gathering an army and maybe moving out a little bit later. First scouting vultures or harassing vultures are out, but the Gunded Ball is stronger than some puny harassing vultures, and 3 tanks versus 8 goons. I think this is pretty evenly matched at this point. Nice worker count from both players. I like to see that. I like to see when they take care of their macro, and why shouldn't they? I mean, they can certainly afford the attention to do that. Robotics thingy is brought up. I don't know if we see shuttles and or reavers very soon. Of course we have observers. That is, oh, there is a robotics support bay. I don't know if there are shuttles out. No, there is no shuttling going about. And this observer helping the minesweeping, getting not getting hit. Sorry, there is nothing that can damage an observer right here. And yet again engaging the tanks. I like to see that. I like to see that Banana Brain is closing in when it needs to. And well, moderately successful minesweeping attempt. And now there is the pressure on the Terran base, and well, there are many more tanks in the background, so this is not a contain, not yet. But it is pressure, and Banana Brain is on the upswing. River is crawling into the front lines, and this is a kind of a choke point, so that is not good for Protoss. Oh, that was a nasty mine hit, taking out friend and foe alike. And now Banana Brain is advancing slowly but surely. Banana Brain is pushing in, and maybe that's what you should do. Just make a unbearable amount of goons and push in as soon as you humanly or botly can. Okay, that Banana Brain is quite good here. No defending tank. There is one tank on the high ground, but Banana Brain can't really do something with it at this point. Can't really do anything with it, I should say. And yeah, the natural is siege down. And in the meantime, one base is sneaked out, so it is not quite as bad as it could be. Let me slow this down and see what Banana Brain is up to. Banana Brain also has the third up. That means 3 versus 3 base, well, but this base is not mining anymore, so Banana Brain is economically on the upswing and seriously threatening Iron Bot's base. This is getting really bad for Iron. This tank is the MVP of the day, just blasting down everyone, and the goons turn back. Why do you turn back? Maybe, well, I mean, tanks on the high ground are hard to break. I'm not disputing that, but still, this is yeah, okay. I see your point. You just wither away here if you stay. Maybe a little bit change of tactics would be welcome, and a lot of vultures get killed by these dragoons, but eventually, well, the number just overwhelmed the attacking Protoss army, and these tanks on the high ground doing a lot of work. So that contain has been broken, or I should say siege. This was not really a contain, this was a genuine push aimed at destroying the heart of the enemy. And another base up for Banana Brain. So Banana Brain, I think, is quite ahead in economy. Well, maybe in economics too, I don't know, but certainly having more resources and mining capabilities. And a lot of SCVs are out, I assume for repair purposes. And this is not a choke point. Well, it's a choke point just from the wrong side, and the Zealots just walk in and kill all the tanks. They stab them to death. And by that being said, the Protoss army is a little bit lacking, but reinforcements are on the way. And yet again, we see this big tug of war between the two armies, and supply lines getting longer, and the Protoss army just fizzling out a little bit. But eventually yet again they are at the gates, and yet again they are besieged from the high ground, and the army just melts. And these tanks are doing a lot of work here, and Banana Brain doesn't have a good answer versus them, because you can't just walk up here. So this will be a long drawn out resource war yet again, and I'm quite glad to see that. Another base is brought up by Iron, and the same dance is happening again. The storms are not very effective, I think. All the units can dodge them quite easily, so maybe you shouldn't really force that. And this base is depopulated. This vulture has killed all the workers, and now trying to do the same to this nexus. But still, there is another base, But the economy is not looking as good for Banana Brain as it once was. And yeah, this army will just get killed. There are too many tanks. And that storm is... well, the vultures are not actually dodging the storm, but the storms are not very great here. In a sense that they don't kill many units. What is this Archon doing? I don't know. Oh, now that's a good storm. So disregard my previous statement. We saw a good storm. So no, this tank count is still rising, and Iron is getting out. Iron is getting out and getting his stuff together. Finally, the tank count is, well, 6, and it's not very high. But the army supply, well, the Banana Brain still has an advantage. This is weird. It feels like that Iron has the supply advantage, to be honest. Oh, that's a nice storm, and the units just can't go anywhere that is not stormed. This Zealot is acting weirdly. So yet again, tug of war, and very little ground gained, and that ground is quickly lost. And this is just repeating all over again. This base is not getting rebuilt, that's a little bit weird. So 2 mining bases plus this puny main base versus 4 mining bases technically, but this Vulture will kill the workers eventually. So, but the workers are not being bothered. I think maybe a cannon would be welcome here. I don't know. So, Protoss army is streaming in. Oh, nice river hits, and eventually there will be a tank on the high ground, mark my words, and that tank will... what was that storm for? I don't know. Maybe just area denial? I don't know. And yeah, there is the tank on the high ground that will yet again beat back the whole Protoss army by itself. And this is something we see again and again. I don't know, maybe some drops would be nice. Doom drop of Zealots could break this, but in this case, yeah, these 2 tanks will just kill all the Protoss army, and they just can't get up the ramp. One carrier here, but one carrier is no carrier, and the Wraith will kill it eventually. Well, the Wraith is a little bit occupied with shooting down interceptors, which is yet again an interesting choice. And now finally the goons try to move up on the ramp, while a lot of goons die and one supply depot in exchange, so not trading very well here. Again, the storm is a little bit of hit and miss. I don't know what was the... Well, in the end, Vulture gets trapped under the storms, and this ramp of death, this must be so slippery from all the blue soup that is just spilled here, and just 2 tanks, well, no, 3, sorry, 3 tanks, but still they do so much work, and they kill so many goons, and eventually the Protoss army is just, well, spent. And another base getting taken, and Banana Brain is just making endless goon streams, endless gateway armies. In the end, these carriers seem to do some work. I mean, this armor is in flames, and this carrier is still alive, which is interesting, but these carriers right here, right now, are just money sinks. And those money could be spent much better somewhere else, and Iron yet again is out of the cage, and now there is not a great Protoss deadbolt to just prevent that from happening. Yet again, I don't know where is Banana Brain's supply. I don't see the army. Maybe how many? No, there is 80 supply of army out on the map, but I just can't find it where. Okay, the carriers count for something, but I don't know. Where are the army? Where is the army? Okay, these goons yet again closing on the sieged up tanks. Nicely done. And as soon as the tanks are out in open ground, oh, now the storms are really doing the work. As soon as the tanks are out in open ground, they will get outmaneuvered, but then the Protoss army will come to the doorstep and there will be tanks on the high ground and they will be the Protoss army back. So this is just repeating all over again. Let's speed this up. I know how it goes. I know the ending. And will there be a tank in the high ground in time? Of course there will be one. And yet again, the ramp of death is real. And the ramp of death will claim many goon lives. Will this push break finally the base? Well, they are making a little bit progress, but still 4 tanks sieged up here. You're not gonna just walk up. Well, let's see what is in production. Well, I should say everything. A lot of goons, a lot of Zerts. Oh yeah, that is a large goon contingent. But there are 5 or 6 tanks sieged up. No, you can't do this. Heck, you can do this with a Congo line. And will this be a drop? I don't know what this shuttle is doing. Banana Brain spending so many resources and just mining out on the natural. Oh, that's not even a natural. That's the third base. Oh yeah, no, that's natural. Sorry, that's the third base. That's almost mined out. This fourth is mined out, and this is not mined out finally. And taking a fifth and not the sixth, but this map will be mined out at this rate. And yet again, the tanks come down and that is their doom. But finally, the interceptor count is something. So this 2-pronged attack maybe can finally beat down Iron's base. So in the end, these puny 2 carriers save the day. But yeah, this is absolute waste of Protoss lives. This ramp has just been impossible to break. And now Ironbot is just out of resources. So, oh, nice Storm taking some SCVs. I didn't see the full extent of that. Let me speed this up, and that makes a very hard-earned victory for Banana Brain, defeating Ironbot 3-2. Very nicely done, and we will hope to see you next time. And I just realized that I need to have this played out, so yes, GG Banana Brain.